So I just took a walk and I started off thinking about death because it seems like I've had a lot of family members die in the past 2 years. And I was thinking about my own death and how I don't have much time because life is so short. And there's also not to be counted out the possibility that I could die tomorrow, that death, we don't know when death is going to come. We don't know when the last days for us is going to be. But this just got me thinking, I guess, on sort of how it motivates me to live life, because really, if you know you're going to die, then you know that your life's futile. You know that there's no outside meaning to your life. And so you want to exist, you want to live as much as you can. You want to be grateful for the life you have, and you want to enjoy the life to the fullest, but really to get the most satisfaction and meaning out of life that you can through creating that meaning. So, I was contemplating this. Suddenly I was reminded, I guess, of my former Christian faith. For some reason, I was just thinking about that as well. And really, I was thinking about how, like, when I was a Christian, I believed that Jesus was the truth. So then I was just remembering that, what it felt like to know that Jesus was the truth. But something happened with the nature of my faith, because I had expected God to deliver this promise to me while I was in this life. To make my life well, like to give me a good quality of life, but that didn't happen. I think there's things that have happened in my life that have been tragic. So then it just sort of shattered my expectation. And then out of just intellectual curiosity, like I had like this growing doubt inside of me throughout the past few years, where I wanted to be justified in doubting and disbelieving in God, even though I had this powerful feeling that Jesus was the only truth. So then I began to study the Bible from outside sources, and I began to look at the Bible in a critical lens. And I found, basically, with the psychology of Christian belief as well, that what I would call the underpinnings of the faith aren't true. Because I've also had experiences, with this Jesus figure, with this figure that represented the truth, and also in other experiences through psychosis and other experiences through meditation, that there's this pervasive understanding, there's this pervasive awareness of everything, and that's the truth. So I would say that an ultimate knowledge is what the truth is. And for a lot of people, they get that through Jesus. But so, when I was really thinking about this on this hike, I was thinking of how could I reconcile basically this knowledge that Jesus is the truth with my current understanding, which is that something like consciousness is the truth, or this, what I call the all-pervasive field of awareness that exists in everything, that underlies everything, that being the truth. And so I figured possibly it was that maybe there was more to be explored on the Jesus side, as well as more to be explored on the exploring of consciousness side, that somehow they're both true. But I'm at a place now where it seems like it has to be one or the other, because I was just so heartbroken, and that feeling of abandoned by Jesus when he promises to never leave us nor forsake us. And I felt a reflection of the abandonment due to the death of some family members a couple years ago. or well, in the past, my brother Asher and my grandfather Jim. But I just don't understand, I guess. Because like I do feel like that in order to worship Jesus, in order to worship God, in order to follow God, in order to be a Christian, you have to abandon like the worth that is in yourself. Like you have to say God is the one who is worthy, and my sinful actions define me, my sinful nature defines me. So therefore God is the worthy one to receive love and I am not. And I object to that. That's not true. That seems to me to be a lie. So I think what's going on with the nature of Christian belief is that somehow when, like this is true of myself, but this is true of other people, I think, is that when people worship Jesus, somehow it activates within them an awareness of the true light and the love, which is the truth. Because something that is true in the Bible is when it says, no man has any greater love than this, than to lay his life down for his friends selflessly. And that seems to me something that's true. So I think really what the central message of Christianity is that love is the truth. But it gets obfuscated with this, with the doctrine, but like also with the nature of the way in which the Spirit, the Holy Spirit of Jesus, I guess, is approached. Because there's something about Jesus that gives a feeling of the truth, but I can't say in good conscience that worshiping Jesus is in line with authentic human nature. I don't think we need to worship anything. So really, I think that like a lot of people have an image of Jesus in their minds, and I think honestly, now that I've changed, now that I've grown, I've come to this place where like I no longer emphasize Jesus as being the truth, because I know that my own innate nature is somehow true. Like I know that the nature of all things is true, like it's more connected. And I think that somehow this Holy Spirit that Christians are following, like it wants to give this impression that it and only it is the truth, but that's a limited understanding, so it can't be true. So really it's just, I'm just working out, I'm just trying to discover what more about the truth. Like I'm trying to find out more what the truth is. And I think that when I was in the Christian faith, like I was very locked into one thing being the truth. And even though there was a conviction of that being the truth, somehow that conviction wasn't true. So yeah, I don't know. Like I don't have all the answers. I don't want to be out to disprove Christians. Like I don't want to be an enemy of Christians. But I'm just interested in knowing who I am, and if there is any sort of higher knowledge, then I would want that too, because I would want to have that understanding in order to feel complete, and I would want to feel complete so that I can be at peace. And so if you're at peace, it's like if you have the choice between not having peace and having peace, like I think people would be inclined to choose peace. So like I know in myself that I'm inclined to peace. I think that it's in my nature. I think that deep down in my nature I am that peace. So I just don't see anymore the necessity of ascribing all peace to Jesus as someone other than who we are. I think that's where part of what led to the dissolution of my Christian belief was realizing it at its fullest, which is that I also had this feeling that Jesus wanted me to see my own worth whenever I would go into these experiences, these visions, sort of like these encounters with God. Like, I felt like God was showing me that all that he had, all that he was also in me. And so, like, I don't see a problem to knowing ourselves as God. And I think there's still this conflict I have. It's like a cognitive dissonance in me where I still think like a Christian, even though I'm like letting go of Christian ideas, and there's just like this there's this desire, like there's this thinking that like there is a God out there, and like that God is the truth. But then like the way that the thinking that goes along with it is that this God is separate or other than me. And so I know that's the belief that has to be dissolved. So yeah, it's just like, I guess it's just like a problem that needs to let go of, but at the same time, I'm just frustrated because I don't understand it. So, but I know where I am and I know where I'm going. Like I trust myself, so I just keep on living life. I don't try to worry about whether or not there's a God other than me. Like other than like, I'm not trying to be arrogant and say I'm God, because like I think we're all God. I think like everything is God, but yeah, I just think it's very interesting problem to pick apart.